You support sanctuary policies that have led to the horrific murder of people, Americans. This Fox News got it wrong. It should say monster. Arrested in broad daylight rape of a 13-year-old in a New York park. This girl was raped at knife point in the park near New York Mets Stadium. That's your state, Governor Hochul. New York Post also got it wrong and called him a migrant. That's a monster. Busted in brutal beating of New York PD cops in Times Square are members of bloodthirsty Tren de Aragua gangs. That's your state where you support your sanctuary state laws. Also, Governor Hochul, do you recognize this image?
Yes.
Where a homeless woman was burned alive by an illegal alien monster? Where you uphold the laws to protect these monsters in your state, and then you force the New York citizens that pay taxes to pay for these people. This is the result of your sick and disgusting treasonous laws that you uphold as governor.
New York is not a sanctuary state for criminals.
I didn't recognize you, Ms. Hochul. This is my time.
Hello, Patriots. Welcome back to Signal 76, where we stand uncompromisingly for the truth and the values that built this great nation. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most explosive congressional hearings I've witnessed in years, where Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene absolutely demolished a Democratic governor over sanctuary city policies that are literally getting Americans killed. If you're tired of the mainstream media covering up these atrocities and want the unfiltered truth about how Democratic policies are destroying our communities, you need to hit that subscribe button right now, smash the like button, and watch this entire video, because what I'm about to show you will make your blood boil and your patriotic heart break for what's happening to our country.
Come here or commit crimes here. That is my number one job. But what is happening is un-American.
Chair recognizes Mr. Timmons from South Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Governor Hochul, the difference is that the millions of Americans that came through Ellis Island did so legally. I'll yield to my friend from Georgia, Ms. Greene.
Thank you. Governor Hochul, are you a Democrat? Yes or no?
I'm a proud registered Democrat, yes.
Did you support Joe Biden for president? Yes or no?
Yes, I did.
Did you support the Biden administration's policies for the past 4 years?
I raised my concerns in many
That's
meetings
a yes
with the
or no question.
administrations about how the border was being enforced, and so I raised concerns.
So you just stated, I'll reclaim my time, you said you're a proud Democrat, you supported Joe Biden for president. Clearly, you supported the Biden administration's policies. Did you swear, Governor Hochul, did you swear an oath to faithfully uphold New York's Constitution and laws?
I certainly did.
In 2017, New York became a sanctuary state when Governor Cuomo signed Executive Order 170. This states, it directs that no state officers or employees, including law enforcement officers, shall disclose information to federal immigration authorities for the purpose of federal civil immigration enforcement unless required by the law. Do you support this law as governor of New York?
Yes, this pertains to civil enforcement.
So you do enforce sanctuary policies of New York?
I supporting helping law enforcement and ICE when it comes to.
Thank you. I reclaim my time. You support sanctuary policies that have led to the horrific murder of people, Americans. This Fox News got it wrong. It should say monster. Arrested in broad daylight rape of a 13-year-old in a New York park. This girl was raped at knife point in the park near New York Mets Stadium. That's your state, Governor Hochul. New York Post also got it wrong and called him a migrant. That's a monster. Busted in brutal beating of New York PD cops in Times Square are members of bloodthirsty Tren de Aragua gangs. That's your state where you support your sanctuary state laws. Also, Governor Hochul, do you recognize this image?
Yes.
Where a homeless woman was burned alive by an illegal alien monster? Where you uphold the laws to protect these monsters in your state, and then you force the New York citizens that pay taxes to pay for these people. This is the result of your sick and disgusting treasonous laws that you uphold as governor.
New York is not a sanctuary state for criminals.
I didn't recognize you, Ms. Hochul. This is my time. Do you know the name Laken Riley? Do you know the name Laken Riley?
Yes, I do.
Oh, you do. Jose Ibarra murdered 22-year-old Laken Riley. He's an illegal alien monster from Venezuela, convicted of 10 charges. He was first arrested by the Biden administration that you stated that you support. Joe Biden for president, right? Proud Democrat, Governor Hochul. First arrested at the border and released by the Democrats that you support. Then, guess what? He made it to New York because the Biden administration flew illegals all over the country, and your state was one that accepted them. He lived at the Crown Plaza Hotel in Queens, an upscale hotel that was turned into an illegal alien shelter at the taxpayers' expense. $2 million a month went to this hotel. The second time he was arrested was in the state of New York for endangering a child. But he was released quickly before ICE could even issue a detainer, because you support those laws, Governor Hochul. Then he flew, get this is shocking. He flew from the state of New York to my home state in Georgia, and you all paid for it. Because, why? Because it was reticketing, and that was the little gift that you were giving my state by sending monsters there. Costs the state of New York $5 to $10 million a day to feed and house illegals. Are you smiling at me about this?
I'm not.
You look like you got quite a smile on your face.
No.
Because I can tell you,
Gentlelady
people,
will not.
this is my time, reclaiming my time.
I'm thinking
Don't
about
attack the witness.
Don't you dare
Don't attack the
smile
witness.
about the murder of
No, I'm
Laken
thinking about
Riley.
her parents.
The third time,
Don't question
the
how I
third
look.
time Jose
My heart is
Ibarra-
breaking for her
my
parents.
time, Governor Hochul. The third time he was arrested was in the sanctuary city of Athens, another Democrat policy. And then he went on and attempted to rape Laken Riley and murdered her. He murdered her. Let me explain something to you. This little girl right here, she would be alive today if you weren't such a treasonous governor supporting sanctuary laws in the state of New York. This little girl would be alive today, and her mother very much would like for her to be alive. This is outrageous for anybody in this country to support for non-citizens to be able to come in our country, be able to travel wherever they want, and then make taxpayers pay to house them, feed them, and then give them a plane ticket after they had been arrested in their state. That's what you did. You are responsible for the murder of this little girl, Laken Riley. And the Department of Justice should prosecute you for her murder.
Objection. Objection.
I don't care how much you
objection.
object, and if you
Objection.
support it too,
Objection.
you're responsible for her murder.
right.
I yield back,
Gentlelady-
Mr. Chairman.
On a point of order.
Gentlelady-
On a point of order.
Gentlelady's time's
On a point of
expired.
order.
State your point.
Mr. Chairman, these witnesses have been here for over 4 hours. They've all voluntarily have been engaging with our members with respect. They've all treated our members with respect.
Laken
Our
Riley is
rules of
dead
decorum-
forever.
Our rules
Forever.
of decorum.
Forever.
Our rules
They
of
can sit
decorum
there all
reclaiming
day.
my time.
Hold on.
Reclaiming
No,
my
wait,
time.
state your point.
I'm
State your-
trying to.
State your
Let
point.
me- let
No,
me do it without
it's a
interruption.
point of inquiry, not a debate.
Our
You've had your
rules,
time.
our rules, if you would let me speak, our rules of decorum dictate that our witnesses should be treated with respect, and I ask you to enforce decorum and remind committee members to treat our witnesses with respect.
Our members are treating the witnesses with respect. This is not a courtroom. We engage with the witnesses, and I think everybody's acting within the realm. We haven't cried and screamed when you all are criticizing the current
Accusing them of-
president, even though that's in
accusing
the
them of treason
rules,
and
not
breaking the
criticizing.
law and
All
how
right.
they look,
All right,
That's-
maybe.
Mr. Chairman.
If you win the chairmanship, if you all flip the House, you win the chairmanship, then you can do what Ms. Crockett says she's going to do and then try to impeach Trump again or whatever you're all.
Mr. Chairman, is there any chance you would yield me 30 seconds to just respond that we are heartbroken what happened to her family? Laken Riley should be alive today.
Okay.
And I'm so sorry for what happened to her. I truly am what happened. But this has nothing to do with our civil enforcement of the laws. We are always cooperating with criminal investigations, always have, always will. So misstating our policies is not serving the purpose of making sure we have meaningful policies that'll actually move the dime. Why aren't we working together to come up with meaningful immigration reform, secure our borders, do vetting at the
Wait a
border?
minute.
We're simply asking.
We're going to go back. Okay, Governor, with all due respect, there was no, the policy of the previous administration was an open border. It was an open border. You all supported that. Now you're saying we need.
Point of order, whose
You were
time is
saying
it?
you were, no, wait a minute.
Point of
Ms.
inquiry, whose time is it?
Ocasio-Cortez, I will recognize you because I like you.
Thank
But,
you.
but here, wait
Thank you
just
so
a
much,
second.
Mr. Chairman. I
Here-
appreciate that.
Here's the border was open, and you all said nothing. All right, now you said we had to pass legislation. We didn't have to pass legislation. Donald Trump secured the border on the first day. Now, there's no question you all have been obstructing and criticizing and failing to work with this administration in trying to apprehend the criminal illegals. That's what this hearing's about. It's not about theater. It's about trying to get a consensus on working with this administration to deport the criminal illegals.
We do it every day of the week,
Not defend all
Mr.
the people who
Chairman.
are over here illegally, to deport the criminal illegals. So
We do it every day of the
everyone's out
week.
order. I'm going to let Ms.
Not-
Ocasio-Cortez state her point, and then we're going to go to Ro Khanna.
Oh, we can continue. I was just curious whose time it was, but we can proceed.
right.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have a unanimous consent request.
Okay.
I'd like to seek unanimous consent to enter into the record this tweet. Just happened, stunning. Senator Alex Padilla from California was just forcibly removed from the news conference being held by
Without
DHS.
objection to order. You just have to state the title. Go ahead.
This is the title.
Mr. Lynch. Chair recognizes Mr. Lynch.
All right. Mr. Chairman, I have a unanimous consent request. This is from MSN. Unquestionably in violation. Judge says U.S. government didn't follow court orders on
Without objection, so
on
ordered.
deportation. The next one is from Rolling Stone. Trump has now deported multiple U.S. citizens, children with cancer.
Without objection, so ordered.
This is New York Times. L.A. deployments of the military to cost $134
Without
million
objection,
in the
so
last
ordered.
50 days. And lastly, Secretary Hegseth will not commit to obeying the court's order on Marines.
This hearing wasn't just politics as usual, folks. This was a moment of raw, unfiltered truth where finally someone had the courage to say what millions of Americans are thinking but are too afraid to voice because of the woke mob's intimidation tactics. Representative Greene didn't just question this governor, she exposed the deadly consequences of Democratic sanctuary city policies that prioritize illegal aliens over American citizens. And let me tell you, the responses from this governor were absolutely shameful and revealed everything you need to know about how Democrats view American lives versus their precious illegal immigrant voting base. Let's start with the facts that the mainstream media will never tell you. New York became a sanctuary state in 2017 under Governor Cuomo's Executive Order 170, which specifically prohibits state officers and law enforcement from cooperating with federal immigration authorities. Think about that for a moment. We have state governments actively obstructing federal immigration law, creating safe havens for people who shouldn't even be in this country. When Representative Greene pressed this governor about supporting these policies, she couldn't even give a straight answer. She tried to dance around the question with typical Democratic word salad. But the truth is crystal clear. She supports policies that shield criminal aliens from deportation. The cases Representative Greene presented are absolutely horrifying and represent just the tip of the iceberg of what's happening in sanctuary cities across America. A 13-year-old girl raped at knife point in a park near the New York Mets Stadium by an illegal alien. Police officers brutally beaten in Times Square by members of the bloodthirsty Tren de Aragua gang. A homeless woman burned alive by another illegal alien monster. These aren't isolated incidents, patriots. These are the predictable, inevitable consequences of policies that prioritize criminal aliens over American citizens. But the case that should make every American's blood boil is the murder of Laken Riley. This beautiful 22-year-old nursing student had her entire life ahead of her. She was jogging on a University of Georgia campus when Jose Ibarra, an illegal alien from Venezuela, attempted to rape her and then murdered her when she fought back. This monster had been arrested multiple times, released multiple times, and even had his travel to Georgia paid for by New York taxpayers. Think about that insanity. New York taxpayers literally funded the transportation of Laken Riley's killer to Georgia. Here's what really happened. And this timeline should make every American furious. Ibarra was first arrested at the border and released by the Biden administration that this governor proudly supported. He made it to New York because the Biden administration was flying illegal aliens all over the country without any coordination with local authorities. In New York, he was housed at the Crown Plaza Hotel in Queens, an upscale hotel converted into an illegal alien shelter at taxpayer expense. $2 million per month went to this one hotel alone. When he was arrested in New York for endangering a child, he was quickly released before ICE could even issue a detainer because of the sanctuary city policies this governor supports. Then, and This is the most outrageous part. New York actually paid for his flight to Georgia. The state was spending $5 to $10 million per day to house and feed illegal aliens, and when they wanted to get rid of them, they just shipped them to other states. Laken Riley would be alive today if New York had simply cooperated with federal immigration authorities and allowed ICE to deport this criminal when they had the chance. Representative Greene's confrontation with this governor was absolutely necessary and long overdue. When she asked if the governor recognized the image of the woman burned alive, when she demanded to know if she knew Laken Riley's name, she was forcing this Democrat to confront the human cost of her ideological extremism. The governor's response was pathetic. She tried to claim that civil enforcement was different from criminal enforcement, but that's exactly the kind of semantic games that get Americans killed. The distinction between civil and criminal immigration enforcement is a false choice designed to confuse the American people. Every person in this country illegally is by definition violating federal law. When you create policies that prevent cooperation with federal authorities, you're creating a protective shield around all illegal aliens, including the criminals. You can't have it both ways. You can't claim to support law enforcement while simultaneously obstructing federal immigration law. What really revealed the character of this governor was her reaction during Representative Greene's questioning. Did you see that smirk? Did you see how she was trying to minimize and deflect while Representative Greene was talking about murdered Americans? This is the contempt that Democratic politicians have for American victims of illegal alien crime. They care more about protecting their sanctuary city virtue, signaling, than they do about protecting American lives. The Democrats' objections during this hearing were also incredibly revealing. They complained about the tone, they complained about treating witnesses with respect, but where was their concern for respecting the memory of Laken Riley? Where was their concern for the victims of these sanctuary city policies? They're more worried about the feelings of politicians who support deadly policies than they are about the Americans who died because of those policies. This hearing also exposed the complete failure of the Biden administration's border policies. For 4 years, we had an administration that deliberately opened our borders, flew illegal aliens all over the country, and then had the audacity to claim they needed Congress to pass new legislation to secure the border. That's complete nonsense. President Trump proved that you can secure the border through executive action and enforcement of existing laws. The Biden administration chose not to enforce our immigration laws, and Americans died because of that choice. The Democrat in this hearing tried to claim that they always cooperate with criminal investigations, but that's not true. Sanctuary city policies specifically prevent local law enforcement from notifying federal authorities when illegal aliens are arrested for crimes. How is that cooperation? How is that helping to keep Americans safe? It's not. It's obstruction, pure and simple. The sanctuary city movement is one of the most anti-American policy initiatives in our nation's history. These policies literally prioritize foreign nationals who violated our laws to enter the country over American citizens who deserve protection from their own government. When you create policies that prevent the deportation of criminal aliens, you're guaranteeing that more Americans will become victims of preventable crimes. Let's talk about the economic insanity of these policies as well. New York was spending up to $10 million per day housing and feeding illegal aliens. Think about what that money could have done for American veterans, for American homeless, for American students. Instead, it went to providing luxury hotel accommodations for people who shouldn't even be in the country. And when these illegal aliens committed crimes, New York just shipped them to other states rather than allowing them to be deported. The Tren de Aragua gang that Representative Greene mentioned is a perfect example of how sanctuary city policies make Americans less safe. This is a Venezuelan gang that has spread throughout the United States, taking advantage of our broken immigration system and sanctuary city policies. They're involved in human trafficking, drug trafficking, and violent crime. When local authorities can't cooperate with federal immigration authorities, these criminal organizations can operate with impunity. The case of the 13-year-old girl raped in the park should haunt every American. This child was brutally assaulted by someone who should have been deported long before he had the opportunity to commit this horrific crime. Her trauma, her family's pain, all of it was preventable if we simply enforced our immigration laws. But sanctuary city policies made her a victim of democratic virtue signaling. What's also infuriating is how the mainstream media covers these stories. They'll call these criminals migrants or asylum seekers, rather than calling them what they are, illegal aliens who committed violent crimes against Americans. They'll focus on the tone of Republicans questioning Democratic politicians rather than focusing on the victims of Democratic policies. This is exactly why alternative media sources like Signal 76 are so important. We're not afraid to tell you the truth that the mainstream media won't report. The Democrats' response to this crisis has been to gaslight the American people. They claim that illegal immigration is actually good for the economy, that these are just people seeking a better life, that we need comprehensive immigration reform. But comprehensive immigration reform is just code for amnesty, and amnesty will only encourage more illegal immigration. We don't need new laws. We need to enforce the laws we already have. President Trump's approach to immigration was exactly right. Remain in Mexico, Title 42, the wall, enhance enforcement. All of these policies work to reduce illegal immigration and make Americans safer. The moment the Biden administration took office, they reversed every single one of these successful policies and created the border crisis we're dealing with today. The sanctuary city movement is also a direct assault on federalism and the rule of law. Immigration is a federal responsibility, and when state and local governments obstruct federal immigration enforcement, they're undermining the constitutional order. If states can pick and choose which federal laws to enforce, we don't have a country anymore. We have a collection of independent city-states with their own laws and priorities. Representative Greene's passion in this hearing was exactly what we need more of in Congress. She wasn't worried about being polite or politically correct. She was focused on holding these Democratic politicians accountable for the consequences of their policies. She named the victims, she showed the photos, she made it personal because it is personal. These aren't just statistics or policy debates. These are real Americans who died because of Democratic sanctuary city policies. The governor's attempt to distinguish between civil and criminal enforcement was particularly insulting. Every illegal alien in this country is here in violation of civil immigration law. When you prevent cooperation with federal authorities on civil enforcement, you're preventing the deportation of people who might later commit violent crimes. Jose Ibarra should have been deported long before he had the opportunity to murder Laken Riley, but sanctuary city policies prevented that from happening. This hearing should be a wake-up call for every American about the deadly consequences of Democratic immigration policies. When you vote for Democrats, you're voting for sanctuary cities, you're voting for open borders, you're voting for policies that prioritize illegal aliens over American citizens. The victims of these policies deserve better, and the American people deserve better. The solution to this crisis is simple. We need to eliminate sanctuary city policies, fully fund border security, and enforce our immigration laws. We need to deport criminal aliens immediately upon arrest, not after they've had multiple opportunities to commit more crimes. We need to end the catch and release policies that allow dangerous criminals to roam free in American communities. Every American who cares about the safety of their community needs to understand what's at stake in every election. Local, state, and federal elections all matter because they determine whether we have politicians who will protect American citizens or politicians who will prioritize illegal aliens. The choice couldn't be clearer. Patriots, this hearing was just one example of the courage we need from our elected officials. Representative Greene wasn't afraid to confront the uncomfortable truth about Democratic policies, and we need more Republicans with that same courage. We need Republicans who will fight for American victims, who will demand accountability from Democratic politicians, and who will never stop working to secure our borders and protect our communities. The mainstream media will attack Representative Greene for being too aggressive, too confrontational, too emotional. But you know what? Sometimes the truth is aggressive. Sometimes the truth is confrontational. Sometimes the truth makes people uncomfortable. The families of Laken Riley and all the other victims of sanctuary city policies deserve representatives who will fight for them with everything they have. This is why your engagement on this video is so important. The algorithms suppress conservative content, but when you like, comment, and share these videos, you're helping to spread the truth that the mainstream media won't report. You're helping to hold Democratic politicians accountable for their deadly policies. You're helping to build the movement that will secure our borders and protect American communities. Make sure you're subscribed to Signal 76 with notifications turned on, because we're going to continue covering these stories that the mainstream media ignores. We're going to continue holding Democratic politicians accountable for their anti-American policies. We're going to continue fighting for the victims of illegal alien crime who deserve justice and deserve to be remembered. The battle for the soul of America is being fought right now. And it's being fought over issues like immigration, border security, and whether we prioritize American citizens or foreign nationals who violated our laws to enter the country. This hearing showed us exactly where the battle lines are drawn, and it showed us exactly what kind of courage we need from our elected officials.